Hey there, sisterhood. April here, and I'm so excited to launch you into the universe of What's Her Superpower. Superpowers, sisterhood, secrets revealed. What's Her Superpower explodes onto the scene, alternating between real talk solo episodes and electrifying guest interviews. Hi, and welcome to another episode. I am so excited. Y'all are going to love our guest today, Kelley Gatewood. She is the owner of Simply No Regrets, and this woman has some stories. So y'all buckle up and get ready and enjoy her story. Hi, Kelley. Welcome.
Hey, thanks for having me.
I'm so excited that you're on today. Tell us a little bit about yourself.
Well, I am 56 years old, and last May, I took off on a solo road trip around the country. In May through November of last year, I did like the western third of the country, and the West is so much different from the East. I'm anxious because I'm doing the East this year, and right now I'm down in New Orleans, and I'm heading down the coast, down the Gulf Coast, and then up the eastern seaboard. So
nice.
Yeah.
So you just woke up one morning and decided, I'm just going to travel.
Kinda. I mean, really. I was driving to Dallas one day, which is where my girls live, and I was living in Austin at the time, and I was just having a conversation with God in the car. Sometimes I just turn everything off, and and the idea popped in my head. I was already kind of restless and knowing that something was kind of stirring around, and the idea popped in my head like, I'd really like to just knock out that bucket list item and travel. And then a few minutes later, I'm like, why can't I do that? What's stopping me? I mean, this is a perfect time in my life. And so I was living in a tiny house village in Austin at the time, serving the formerly homeless at a place called Community First Village. And this was last October. And then, so in May, I sold my house to an incoming missional, which is what we were called, and used some of that money and quit my massage business, or at least put it on hold, and took off. So yeah, it kind of was just, I woke up one morning and decided to do it. A little planning in between, but yeah, once I make a decision and I know that, it's a God thing, I'm gone. That's it.
Yeah. Yeah. Sometimes he talks to us and we're like, are you sure that's what you want me to do? That would be one of those conversations.
We're good.
I think that would be one of those conversations I'd have to have. Are you sure? I'm not sure if I'd act that fast as you did. Sometimes we're obedient. We're just not obedient in a timely manner. So, so you were living in a tiny house. So now what do you have a camper? Where do you stay?
Yeah, so I have a RAV4, an SUV. I have a mattress. I put down the back seats, and I kind of cut down a twin size mattress, and that takes up half of the back. And then I have 2 drawers that have, those plastic things that have all my clothes in it, and a good cooler. And then all the other little things are just kind of stuck in between and around. So it works out really well. So I either camp, which in January is not an option, especially as cold as it's been. Mm-hmm. And then I primarily, probably at least 80% of the time, I am house sitting and pet sitting through a website called Trusted House Sitters. And right now I am pet sitting 2 little dogs, and hopefully they won't bark because I have no place to put them in this little house. And so, yeah, every place I go to is new in so many levels. But it's great because I am usually in a house, so I can cook and I can set up shop for my business. And yeah, it's worked out really well. And I've met a lot of great people along the way. And the animals they're enough companionship that I need.
Yeah.
I love traveling solo, but Yeah, they're the perfect amount of companionship.
Yeah. Do your kids worry about you? Are they like, Mom, are you really doing this?
No, after they don't, they just know me. I living in Austin with 500 formerly homeless neighbors of mine. This is, yeah, it's fine. They don't question me. No, they don't.
I love that. So tell us about your business.
Yeah, so I really felt like I was supposed to travel with intention. And I knew God wasn't just going to stick me out there just to have fun. So even though what I have turned my business into is so much fun to me because I get to, my intention is to inspire other women, mostly empty nesters, recent retirees, to do the same thing I'm doing. And not exactly, but to live out their bucket lists and to get out of their comfort zones. And I think so many times when we get to this point in our lives, we either go one direction or the other, right? We're either stuck and like, oh, I couldn't possibly do that. And not at my age, or I couldn't possibly travel by myself. It's too dangerous. I can't change jobs or whatever it is. But truly, when we think about it, and this is kind of one of my main things that I try to teach is let's get down to figure out what you're really afraid of. Because a lot of times it's more of an excuse, because when you really start thinking about it, there really isn't that much to be afraid of. It's more fear of the unknown. Oh, yeah. But if we can walk through those steps and really dive deep into what those unknowns are and have a plan for them or just knock them out because it's really not an issue, then we can move forward.
Yeah, because life's definitely too short to sit around and what if ourselves to death because, and I don't think men do that. I think that's definitely a female trait where we sit and it's like, well, what about this? And I don't know if that's from the nurturing aspect of us that we worry about everything and everybody. So we just take that on or I don't know, but we do that. And I think as we get older, because you and I are about the same age, that it's like, what's going to happen? What's the worst that could happen?
Right. And my business is called Simply No Regrets because I want to inspire people to live simply and intentionally to create a life of purpose with no regrets. So I want to get to 80, 85, maybe longer, and sitting in my rocking chair, maybe, or I'm still doing what I'm doing, and say, hey, I lived my life. I didn't just exist. I did everything that I could do and set out to do. And I hopefully helped a lot of people along the way and left a legacy in addition. So that's my goal and my intent.
I love that.
Thank you.
So how many states have you seen so far?
Oh, I couldn't count. I could, well, let's see. I did New Mexico and Arizona and Utah and Idaho and Wyoming, Montana, Washington, Oregon, and California. And then I came back through Arizona and New Mexico. And then now I am in Louisiana. So You can't, I don't know.
That was about 12.
Okay.
You've got a long way to go.
I do, but there are so many states on the east side. They're little.
They are little. Yeah. I was stationed in Virginia for most of my career. But, as you go, it's real easy to go through 4 or 5 states.
Yeah, in a day. Whereas in Texas, you can't even go through the whole state in a day.
I lived in Texas before. Yeah, I agree. I lived in Texas before I went in the military and Louisiana. So, yeah. it's kind of like, but I was close to Texas and Louisiana. So it's like, oh, yeah, well, I've been back and forth between those two. But yeah, the East Coast, definitely a lot more smaller states.
Mm-hmm.
What's the one big one that you're very excited to go to?
Everybody keeps talking about Maine, how beautiful it is. And I'll be there probably the end of July, early August when it's, I follow the sun. I don't like to be cold. So I was in Washington in August and I will be in Maine in August. Yeah, I'm excited about that. I have a feeling there are just a lot of different things to do there. And you've got the ocean and you've got the trees and the mountains. And yeah, I think that one's going to be, but who knows? Yeah. There aren't nearly as many national parks on the east side as well, and that kind of determined my route on the west side. Without hit as many national parks as I could, so it will be it's a little different.
Show them your water bottle.
Oh yeah, got one. So this is all the national parks. I put a sticker on each time I hit one. So I think I'm at 16, and there are 63. Is that right? Yeah, maybe I have more than 16. I'm not sure.
Yeah.
Some of them are like in Hawaii, and those are going to be trips in and of themselves. But my goal before I die is to hit every national park. So
I love that. Not necessarily every state, just every national park.
Yeah, I think I'll hit every state anyway.
Yeah. I'm excited about Maine. We're going to Maine in July, the second week of July, right after 4th of July. So we were supposed to go like 2 or 3 years ago, whenever COVID started.
Right.
And we had everything booked. We were all set. We'd rented a house. And then they came out and said, we're going to start putting people in the middle seat. My husband and I looked at each other and we said, not with us on the plane, you're not. So we canceled everything. And then like 2 weeks later, they said, oh, yeah, we're not going to do that. Of course you're not.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So it's taken us a little while, but we finally rebooked and we're going this year. So
good.
Now take us back. What did you do? So you started us where you were working you were working in the homeless village and living in a tiny house. Where did you, let's go back a little bit more. Like what kind of history do you have? What have you done?
So I'm a single mom. My girls were 2 and 9 when I got divorced. I was a massage therapist and a personal trainer for almost 30 years. And that's what I did in Austin as well. The living in the tiny house was a volunteer position. We were kind of live-in volunteers. So, I was always involved with PTA and youth group. And I worked with the single parents group ministry in church when I was in Dallas. And I started a middle-aged singles ministry in my church in Dallas. So I've always been in a service type calling. Mm-hmm. And then I had no experience with the homeless when God called me down there. I mean, that was truly a calling. But I always know when I'm being called for something, because even though I should be terrified, I'm excited. Mm-hmm. And so, he does not call the equipped, he equips the called, and he truly does. And even emotionally, because that's when I know is if there's something that I want to be doing that I should be terrified of doing, then I know I'm on the right page.
And I think some of that's attitude also, because they say, scientifically, our body does not know the difference between fear and excitement. Yes. So if
that's right.
Yeah, it's the same emotions attached to it. So if we tell ourselves we're excited rather than fearful, it's easy to say, oh, I'm afraid, I can't do that. How about you're excited about what could happen?
Exactly.
Yeah.
And what's the worst that, like you said earlier, what is the worst that could happen?
Yeah. And the older you get, the less that list, the shorter, the less you care. And the shorter that list is, it's like, I'm going to die eventually,
Might
You
as well
know?
die having a full bucket or an empty bucket list.
Yep.
Right.
Exactly. Yeah. You're my people with the whole travel thing. That's after 20 years in the military, I've traveled a lot and
Yeah.
absolutely loved it. But it wasn't always the nicest places. That's that whole military thing part, but it was fun to travel and see different things and see the way different people live.
Yeah. And, as a single mom, I rarely traveled. And unless it was taking my girls somewhere, I mean, we always went on a vacation every year, but it was usually a road trip and it was usually in Texas or maybe Arkansas. And, it was low budget. And this is very low budget that I'm on now. I don't pay for my lodging. I cook myself. I'm in my car. So I am living simply for sure. And I think I always have. I'm just not a collector of things. I'd rather have experiences, and so now is it's my turn, and just my turn to do what I want. And,
Yeah.
and my girls they understand that, they get that, and they're totally on board. And yeah, go mom. He's like, that's what I say that they say anyway.
And that's just it. It's when you look back at your life, are you living or are you just waiting to die? You know?
Exactly. Are you living or are you just existing?
Yeah.
Is every day the same?
Yeah.
And I don't want to be that way.
We tell our kids that our goal is to spend their inheritance before we die. They can either come with us. We started doing family vacations. So they can either come with us on a family vacation or they can stay at home. But that's our goal, is to spend their inheritance.
Well, and because I'm gone 10 months this year, I gave my girls a trip to come and see me. So they just tell me where they want to meet me, and then, we'll work it out. So I'll get to see them and they'll get to vacation and hopefully a place that they haven't been to before.
Nice. That's fun. So what is in store for your business this year?
I am creating some courses, online courses to just help ladies get organized and kind of get out of that comfort zone and inspire them. There'll be videos along with those. I hope to, hopefully by the end of the year, have a bit of a live course where we can be in a small group and just really knock out those fears and get some plans on paper.
Nice.
Yeah. And I've got a you can follow me on Facebook and Instagram. I try to post when it's not cold and rainy. I'm usually out taking photos, and I'll post a reel at least once a day about where I am and what my adventures for the day. And I also go live every Tuesday night, and we just talk about all kinds of things on there. So,
Well, good. And you do that is that in your Facebook group?
yes. Oh, no, that's just on my Simply No Regrets page.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So your business page.
My business page.
Okay.
Yes.
Oh, I had a question. What was it? Isn't there something? Aren't you working on your own podcast?
I am working on my own podcast. I'm in the entry level phase of that I would love to interview other people like yourself who have not only stepped out of their comfort zone later in life, but you're like doing a complete 180 in your career, and other people, my kind of people, and so that because everybody relates to somebody different. Yeah, it relates to different people's stories. And so I want to just share other people's stories, and then also talk about, my story and hopefully in some little nuggets along the way and some lessons and just get those ladies out there.
Well, good. I'm excited about that. So you got to be careful what you tell me, because every once in a while I remember things and I'm like, wait a second. Well, there's two questions that I ask everybody.
Okay.
So the first one is, as a woman in business, what do you feel like your superpower is that you bring into your business?
My superpower. Well, I'm very much an idea person, so which is good and bad because I have learned to just sort of stick with one thing when I decide to do it. But it is taking mentors to help me do that. But I have lots of ideas and I like trying new things. And so I think my superpower may be just like with my traveling, it's just not being afraid to try new things. And the problem is that I do need to just be like a postage stamp and stick to one thing till I get there.
It's hard being multi-passionate.
It is.
Yes, because, and that's, I hear that a lot. I see it a lot. We have so many great ideas, and I don't know if it's because, we have kind of gotten into this a little more mature.
True.
And we have all these life experiences, and we're like, oh, I could do this or this or this, and there's just so much. And that, time's ticking. You got to get all this stuff done.
Well, and I want to get it out there because
Yes.
I want other people on board and living life.
Yep. And I'm kind of like you. I know that God did not bring me through the life that he brought me through for just my benefit. There's so much that I can share and get out there to other people that, you want to share that blessing that you have.
Absolutely. Yeah.
All right. So the last question is, what is your word for 2024?
My word for 2024 is, so last year's was last year's? Oh my goodness. Now I've gone blank. This year's is socialize, because when I'm traveling, because I don't usually eat out and I travel alone, I tend to kind of become a hermit. So I need to, even if I just go out and drink a Diet Coke at the bar, at Chili's or wherever, I need to force myself to do that because I want to hear other people's stories and I want to share my story. And I want to, learn about wherever I am from the locals. And so that's my word, socialize, which is probably my life word.
And you would think as much as you travel around that would, and yeah, I can see being at home, staying at home with the animals and, not really interacting. But that's one of the fun things about being in different areas is that you do get to meet local people.
Yeah. And, because I love to hike and I like being in the mountains, it's easy to kind of just be by myself. Whereas there are other hikers out there, I could be starting up conversations, but yeah, that's my word.
Well, great.
Be social, get myself out there verbally.
Oh, I cannot wait to just see all the great things that you're going to put out and how many people you're going to be a blessing to and just your adventures. I love seeing you on Facebook and seeing where it's like, where is she today? And, I'm a Louisiana girl, so you need to get out and see all that Mardi Gras and take some pictures and stuff. I look forward to seeing all that.
Good. I need advice. So when we're off air, I need you to send me a list.
Well, definitely get you a king cake during this time. So,
oh yes, I will. Because it is mine. Okay.
All right. Well, we will have Kelley's information or contact information in the show notes. So make sure you check those out. Follow her on Facebook and see what adventures she is having and reach out and just send her notes of encouragement so we can live vicariously through her and learn from her and get out and have make it our own bucket list and our own adventures. Absolutely. Thank you, Kelley.
Thank you so much for having me.
Bye.
Bye.
Forget unicorns. Unlock your true potential with actionable tips, inspiring stories, and a whole lot of laughs. Join the mission. Subscribe now. Find your own What's Her Superpower? Join the mission.